All right, welcome to the pregame cheat sheet. I'm Darren Smith, along with Steve. Will also be with us momentarily, but we are live inside of State Farm Stadium. Of course, this is the site where Kansas City just a few months ago hoisted up the Lombardi Trophy after defeating the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35 in a Super Bowl to remember for Chiefs Kingdom. Darren Smith, and look, it is 108 degrees outside. It is very cool on the inside. I am sporting a suit. You'll see it momentarily, but just wanted to set the scene right now. As you see, you got Chiefs Kingdom on where you got the Chiefs players on the left side of the field. You got the Arizona Cardinals, the home team, on this side of the field. This is week 2 of preseason action in the NFL. The Chiefs, of course, are 0-1, 26-24 loss last week to the New Orleans Saints. Not much to take away from it. Of course, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce only played the opening series, and the starters, at least on the offensive side, only played 2 series in that game. Coming into today's game, Andy Reid has stated that he plans to play the starters throughout the first half, with the possibility, if they look good, he may take them off the field. Expect the 2s and the 3s and the 4s to play in the second half of the ball game. Arizona, of course, comes into this game 1-0. We should probably see Kyler. Well, no, we're not going to see Kyler Murray play at all. Of course, he's still coming off of his injury that he suffered on last season. Starting for the Cardinals and their offense is going to be Colt McCoy. But players to look out for in tonight's game, of course, if you're a Chiefs Kingdom fan, which I know those watching are Chiefs Kingdom fans, of course, you're going to want to see Sky Moore. He's going to be in action. I know a lot of people are looking at Justin Ross and Richie James based off of what they did last week, and with their touchdown receptions last week against the New Orleans Saints. So we're looking forward to see what they do in their second week of action. A lot to probably take from this game. Get to see whether or not the offense, based off of what they did last week in the opening drive, can clean up some of the minutia that they showed. More so, you want to see on the defensive side of the football what the first team defense does against this first team offense. We know last week they gave up touchdown on consecutive drives to the first and second team units for the New Orleans Saints. So I don't know. We'll see whether or not Spags has kind of cleaned things up along the way coming into tonight's action. After today's game, of course, the Chiefs will return home for their one and only preseason game next week against the Cleveland Browns. That game is taking place on next Saturday at 12 noon. Obviously, we expect to see all the Chiefs Kingdom out there, and when that happens, we already know what the temperature in the atmosphere is going to be when that takes place. Uh, Tonight, though, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Marquez Valdez-Scanlon. Not going to see any Isaiah Pacheco, of course. You're not going to see any Kadarius Toney. I'm interested in wondering what Chiefs Kingdom, who are you all looking forward to seeing in tonight's game? Uh, Myself, I am a little partial you know, to Justin Ross, seeing what he can do. I see Charles Penn says he wants to see the front four. Not good. Yeah, that's the big. Yeah, that's the main thing. Making sure that they do not get pushed around so easy today. Want to wish Lee Picotti the third a happy birthday. I know that's tomorrow, so best of wishes. Enjoy your birthday. I've got to say, I'm excited about it because one, we do have football back. We do get to see a lot more of Patrick Mahomes, and one of the things that I like about seeing Mahomes play in the preseason, you got to remember because he played so late into the year, he really hasn't been hit since the Super Bowl. So for someone like Patrick Mahomes, he wants to get out here. He wants to get some preseason action to get prepared for the regular season because he wants to be able to train his body on how to fall to the ground because you can't hit him at practice. You can't hit him during training camp. So this is really the only time that he gets a chance to kind of get a feel of how to take hits and stuff when the season begins. Um, Looking forward to see, of course, what some of the rookies are able to do in today's game. We'll get a chance to see a lot of Felix Anundi, Felix Uzama. I'm not going to try to pronounce that man's full name. We'll get a chance to see some more. We'll get a chance to see Wanye Morris, Deneric Prince. Now, look, after last week's game against the Saints and after all the hype with Deneric Prince, this is going to be an important game for him to see whether or not, you know, the Chiefs decide to keep four running backs or not. I don't know. I mean, if he doesn't have a good game tonight, you never know. I know Andy and them are pretty high up on him and what he's done in training camp, but it's got to be able to transfer over to the playing field, and not sure he did just that on last week against the Saints. But look, man, I mean, we're less than a half hour. Well, I'll take it back. We're about 32 minutes away from kickoff. Uh, is that Colt? Yeah, that is Colt McCoy down there. Number 17 is David Bloch. Okay, I'm trying to figure out some of these Cardinal players. Trying to see if we still have. Yeah, Buda Bay. Okay, Isaiah Simmons is still here. So of course, you remember he's a hometown kid out of Olathe. Isaiah Simmons is still on this Cardinals defense, and for some reason, you don't see him in the starting lineup, which is disappointing to say the least. But anyway, let's see. Felix. Okay, I see. Charles, you said that you saw some good things from Felix last week. See if it carries over tonight. Again, that's the biggest thing to see whether or not these young players, the starters who played last year, especially on the defense side of football, can they continue to impress, especially the rookies, and what are you able to retain from Steve Spagnuolo's defense? Now, he doesn't really put a he's already said he doesn't show a whole lot, and he doesn't really give them a whole lot to do in this game. His biggest thing is making sure that they tackle and that they tackle well. So get a chance to see that and see whether or not I mean, see whether or not these players can what they do when the lights are bright, because they're gonna get an opportunity to play. They're gonna get an opportunity to show what they can do. The problem is going to be that if Andy Reid somehow, depending on what this offense looks like, keeps his first team unit out there for the first half, you only got the third quarter for the second and third unit, possibly the fourth quarter. So a lot of players are going to see their time, chopped down. So you don't really have a lot to you're not gonna have a lot of time to showcase what you can do. So you best make the best of it, because if you don't, you're not gonna be here after the 27th of or what is it, the 29th or whatever of August, after the cuts are determined. So a lot to get into. Of course, this is like home away from home. It's my third time here over the last year. Of course, the Chiefs opened up the season last year. It ended the season in the Super Bowl. I'm not in the same seat I was in. I guess I was a row up, and I was a row up and to the right. So that's where the week, watching Rihanna do her thing. So it's pretty good. But as you can see on the field looks decent. I mean, as decent as it's going to be for a preseason game. But there's no holes, there's no patches. You do see some dirt and stuff out here. The Arizona Cardinals actually do practice on this field throughout the week. So, take that for what it's worth. I don't expect, knock on wood, I don't expect any injuries in tonight's game. At least nothing major, so to speak. So, I mean, this is a beautiful stadium. I can probably guarantee that it's not going to be 70,000 people here like it was in New Orleans on last Sunday. Uh, there are a lot of Chiefs Kingdom fans here. Actually, if you look close enough, and let me see if I can move the camera some. If you look, especially in this end zone right here, there's a lot of fans here, in Chiefs jerseys. Now, people like to. Now, I did hear that Arizona uh, likes to call their fans the Red Kingdom or something like that. So I don't know, maybe they're trying to bite off of what you all do back in Kansas City. But that being said, it is going to be a nice atmosphere when you hear the home of the brave, the national anthem. I can assure you, home of the Chiefs will still make its way through the broadcast. So about 28 minutes away from kickoff, and again, preseason number 2 for the Kansas City Chiefs as well as the Arizona Cardinals. Kickoff here at 5 o'clock local time, which kind of messed me up going across these time zones here. Let's see here, 108 degrees outside. Chiefs are a 7.5 point favorite, but there was no I could bet on this game, so disappointed in that because I had some free play money I wanted to put down on this for tonight, but the Lord said otherwise. Who else are we looking forward to having a decent outing tonight? A little showcase. Let's see what Anthony Cook and some of these defensive backs. I want to see what they do, because we know that they're going to pass the ball a lot. a lot in tonight's game. I don't see a whole lot of running. James Conner's not going to get too much time tonight. Keontae Ingram, I think he'll probably see a little bit of time. And who else for the Cardinals? Yeah. Well, looking at this Cardinals lineup, man, I can see why they should be in the running to get Caleb Williams next week because I don't see anybody worth of note on this offense. But good thing is, following the game, myself, Steve Walls, we will be bringing you post game coverage. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes talking in the press room after the game, along with interviews in the locker room with the players as well. I'll probably talk to Trey Smith. I'm looking forward to talking to Trey Smith this week. I did talk to Jawan Taylor last week, but depending on, like I said, depending on who plays well tonight will dictate who I decide to talk to in the locker room. I do, however, plan on speaking to Justin Ross, after the game. Just I'm gonna kind of follow him throughout this season to get his thoughts on his performance, and I'll also talk to, as usual, Justin Reed as well. So Chris Jones, of course, he's not in the building. He hasn't been signed yet. Well, he hasn't signed an extension. He hasn't, there's no rumors or reports of him showing up anytime soon. So I know Brett Veach is going to be sitting behind me throughout the game. So I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him a question and won't share it with you all when it matters most because I got to be off the record when I holler at my boy. All things being equal, see Travis Kelsey tonight. I had to see who would be good to pay attention to tonight. Obviously, Shane Buechele had a decent outing last week. Of course, he had the interception at the very end, but he played well. Had the Patrick Mahomes esque play, touchdown pass. Let's see. I do want to see, like I said, Richie James, Justin Ross, Justin Watson. Actually, we haven't talked much about it, but Cornell Powell, I know I mentioned it last week, but Cornell Powell, he's a fifth or sixth round. I think he was a late draft pick for the Chiefs in 2020. And he hasn't, he's been on the practice squad the last couple of seasons. Now, of course, he was teammates of Justin Ross. So, it's interesting to say the least. And, as Steve Walls gets his headsets on to join me, you know, speaking of talking about Cornell Powell and what he needs to do to make himself or have a chance to make the squad. Steve, your thoughts on Cornell Powell and whether or not he's going to be able to make the squad?
To be honest, he's going to get a lot of opportunity, in the next couple of games to be able to showcase his talent. He hasn't really shown much yet. I think he has to build the trust from Patrick in practice. Well, I mean, training camp really. I know it's over, but he's going to have a few more days to practice and has to show the trust, gain the trust from Patrick, and able to be able to break into that first team. He's going to have plenty of opportunity, but he's going to have to just showcase when the ball is thrown at him. He's going to have to catch the ball.
One of the things that I was mentioned to our audience a little bit earlier, as you were coming up, is that if Andy stays true to what he's talking about playing the first unit, the first half, I think we both feel like if they get a good, go down the field, maybe score, he may pull them early. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, if they march down the field, let's see, 8 plays, 80 yards.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's going to be pulled.
But if by chance he sticks to it and plays them at least into the second quarter, now what I saw is that it limits the opportunities for those on the second, third, and fourth team to be able to get out there and showcase what you can do on the field. Obviously, we saw a lot in the first preseason game, and players were able to, do some stuff. But it's got to be able to carry over from week to week to week. And again, if
that's the tough thing about the league, man.
Yeah,
you got to be able to. You can do it one game, okay, but can you do it back to back?
Yeah, and if you don't get the opportunities because your playing time is going to be limited because obviously both teams are going to be doing that.
Yep.
What you do out there, you have to make the most of it. You have to make it. I mean, you have to make the best out of it, of the opportunities that you're going to be able to get. So, like, if Shane Buechele or Blake Galbert throws you the ball, one, you better catch it, and two, you better do something with it.
But here's the thing about that is you're not only showcasing for the offensive side of the ball, but you've got to be able to prove you can play special teams. I mean, we've talked
Uh,
to Dave Tobe year in and
yeah,
year out, and Dave, the thing that he says is, hey, this is where you can make the team. Like
yeah,
Dave, I mean, he's assistant head coach. I mean, he has the ear of Andy Reid, right? So like, if Dave wants you on a team, I mean, Marcus Kemp's made a lot. Dave Tobe has made Marcus Kemp a lot of money
yeah, yeah. Pat
because
Mahomes
of
too.
well,
Yeah,
no, Marcus Kemp. I mean, special teams. That's where he was able to thrive. I
yeah.
mean, he came in and he was a gunner on punt. He kickoff. He was first one down the field. So I mean, you've got to be able to showcase what you can do on special teams. Can you tackle? Can you do the things, run your lane, do the things that you Dave Tobe asked you to do? And I think that's how you make the team.
I was asking the audience, and is there anybody particular that you're looking forward to watching tonight to see the reps that they get and what they do with it?
I think it's Clyde, man. I've been saying this. I like Clyde, but no, sometimes all good things come to an end. Right? I think the Chiefs are um, could possibly parlay Clyde into another defensive tackle. I mean, I really believe you can. Even, and I know you have you don't have a healthy Isaiah Pacheco,
Yeah,
right? Like he hasn't put on pads yet as far as in a preseason game. I mean, he's been at training camp, but
in a non-contact jersey
yeah,
at
yeah,
that.
and so so you don't really know how his shoulder's going to hold up after having that surgery. So I mean, so it's kind of iffy if you're going to keep Clyde or not. But I think if you're going to move from him, I mean, get something for him and not let him just walk for free. If you're not going to pay him, that's what I mean.
Well, they didn't pick up his fifth-year
Of
contract.
course, of course.
But the flip side is that what can you get for him? I mean, because he's a first-round pick, yes, but he is undersized even as a running
But
back.
that's why I think that's why they're going to showcase him. And last week they showcased him a little bit. I think they're going to showcase him a little bit more against first team defense. That way, hey, Clyde's healthy with a good scheme. I mean, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Blocking is kind of sometimes questionable, but I think he's still a talent. He still can provide something for a team that needs a running back.
Obviously, this is the site of Super Bowl 57, where the Chiefs won last time they were on the field.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, a lot of the players who were here.
Good memories from this place.
Oh yeah, great memory. A year ago the Chiefs opened up the season there. They ended the season here with the win. Got a chance to see them hoist up the Lombardi Trophy. Obviously, Chris Jones isn't here again for tonight's game and hasn't been made it.
Of course.
Made. The opportunities that, and I tell people all the time, you got to make the most of the opportunity. What do you see? One, should be able to see some more Charles Ohamnu, in tonight's game since he's got the 6-game suspension. Yep. But also Daniel Wise and of course the Chiefs rookie first round rookie pick.
Yeah.
Felix Uzoma. What are you looking for from them in tonight's game?
I mean, they've all been saying it, and this is one of the things that not only Andy Reid preached, but Eric Bieniemy, when he was here, he preached it as well. There's always, Eric Bieniemy mostly. Yeah. There's that invisible sign up out at One Arrowhead Drive that says now hiring all positions.
Yeah.
So with that being said, there's always next man up. If one guy isn't here, I mean, the next guy has to showcase what he can do, and why not now? Now, here's my question. I wondered, why give up? But I get it. Andy Reid said at the beginning of training camp that this was a surprise to him. He didn't think Chris was going to hold out. I mean, he didn't do it going from his rookie deal into his second contract. So they didn't think he was going to do it. But now we're here. I know they're probably kicking themselves. Why did we give up Colin Saunders? I feel like they could have paid it $3-4 million. Now they wouldn't. I mean, because Colin looked good last week. Yeah. I know it's preseason, but he did go up against first team, and I know he knows, the scheme, what the Chiefs want to do. So, but he looked good. And so I think without Chris, you have to find somebody who is going to be serviceable. Is that Derek Nottie? I don't know. Is it Daniel Shelton? I don't know. Is it Daniel Wise? It's really going to come down to who's able to stuff the middle. Now, if you're getting pressure from the defensive ends, that kind of thing kind of alleviates a little bit of that, takes some of the pressure off. But you know as well
Yeah,
as I do, you need Chris Jones.
yeah, you do need Chris Jones. I mean, and
I mean, there's no way around it.
yeah, well,
You,
yeah. I mean, obviously, even Brett knows because he's sitting behind us, kind of listening to ear hustle while he's on the phone. But Steve, on the offensive side of
yeah,
football, though, I do want to see more of what of Justin Ross and Richie James were able to showcase. Obviously, both players did
yeah,
well in
yeah.
last week's game. Saying were they able to get, were they were were they able to get touchdown passes. What are you hoping to see more from them go into tonight's game as well?
I really, everybody has to play well, man. You can't come out here and just walk through the motions. Now we last week we saw what the first team offense, first team defense did, right? Like
Yeah,
they started slow. Even Patrick and Andy both said, "Hey, we can't come out slow," but they did it at the beginning of the season last year. Um, at some point, and we talked about it, it's gonna come back to bite you. At some point, if you don't come out right now, I know it's preseason. It's kind of hard to get up for these games, but it's you've got to come out
it's
and play
really hard to get
well.
up until you actually get hit. When you get hit after
Of course. And but it's, I
you
mean,
realize it's
right
football.
now it's kind of, you know, it's a you get a do over, right? So if you get 9 lives and 4 or 5 of those lives, you're gonna kind of like, whatever. I got 4 more or 5 more.
So look, people ask me this, when I'm on their Twitter space and stuff, and they invite me to the shows, and from time to time, I try to put myself in the mind or the mode of Andy Reid.
Yeah,
Okay, we get week one preseason, but if you're Andy Reid, what are you looking for in tonight's game? Now, it's one thing to talk about, your ones, especially if they can go down the field, march down, score.
yeah.
But what are you looking for throughout the rest of the game?
Man, I just want to see what the twos and threes are able to do, man, because I think that's where that's where you're able to find some talent. That's where because we if we are able to know what the ones can do, what about their backups? The
Yeah,
ones can't play all game, right? You got to have some depth, and I think that's where good teams win championships is if you have that depth.
I want to see a lot of what the backup lineman can do.
Mm,
You can look, I mean, because the core is obviously Humphrey, Tooney, and Reed, and then of course you got the new bookends
of
in
course,
and Smith
of course.
and Taylor, and so, but like you said, someone goes down. We know that Lucas Niang, he started, his first year after he took the COVID year off. He started for injury, took the best of them, but the Chiefs have drafted a lot of linemen. Prince Tega Wanaga, obviously Wanye Morris. They also had a Darian Kennard that they got from Kentucky last year,
Yeah,
and obviously still got Nick Allegretti, Austin Riley. So for me, I think it's important because of the depth and knowing that
yeah,
the Chiefs are going to keep a lot of offense on because you got to have depth after what we saw, a couple Super Bowls ago. So knowing and knowing that on the defense side of football, you're always sending waves of defensive linemen, keeping them fresh
yep.
versus the starting five, front five who generally play most of the game. So to me, it's important to make sure and see how they perform. With the calls and stuff. Obviously, now they'll be going up against second and third units, but they still got to get that action in there with the play calling because if someone goes down, they need to be able to plug and play. These players in case of injury.
I agree because you got to know what you got, and I think that's why people are so in tune with what the backups can do. I mean, you don't know until you don't know. And then you look at last year, man. You had like even on the defensive side of the ball, you had 8 rookies, right?
Dude, you had a lot
Like
of them.
like that had to play.
Yeah.
And so I think this is where you find out who can go. I mean, granted, I get it's preseason, but not to the second and third teams. Like
Well,
they want to put good film
yeah,
on
but even
good
to
film
your
out
point,
there.
the first team, and when we saw first team defense, they gave up 2 touchdowns
Yeah,
on the 2 drives, and that was against the first and the second unit
of course.
for the Saints. So to me, what type of corrections did they do during
Short
camp this
yardage.
week?
That's one of the ones I want to see. I know that's a question mark, but that's one of the ones I want to see is what can you do? You
and
know,
Joshua Williams too, because last week they went after him.
yeah, they did. Trent McDuffie, you mean? Trent McDuffie.
Well, and Joshua Williams too.
True. But I think these guys. I think they'll be okay. I mean, they have a lot of experience because this year there's not going to be any. Oh well, he's just a rookie. Yeah, that
Oh,
was a
no.
rookie mistake. You can't. There's not going to be any more of that. You're going to have to make sure that you hold your own.
And it's funny. Remember last year, like you said, Chiefs had rookies starting. Obviously, Trent McDuffie, Carl Loftus, started some games. Leo Chanel as well. Now, when you look at their starting offense and defense, they ain't got a rookie starting.
Of course,
It's so which again, as I described,
with the exception of Felix May.
Yeah, he probably will start if
I think Felix is going to end up starting.
Okay. Well, yeah, if he starts, he starts. I'm one looking at the depth chart.
Yeah,
they got him third, but we'll see what happens. But I do think about, and I tell you all the time that one of the ways that the Chiefs have been successful is by playing these rookies early on.
Yeah.
Starting them, getting them mixed in with these veterans, and so now you get to a point where the second, third, fourth year to their contract, they're still in their rookie contract, and the Chiefs are still successful.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why they can. And when it comes time to their contracts being up, you look at a Juan Thornton, you look at McCole, they let them go somewhere else to get paid because they keep they're drafting well and playing these players on the rookie deals and getting the most out of them.
Yeah, Willie Gay is going to be one of them. I don't know if they're going to have enough to pay Willie Gay. L'Jarius Sneed, his contract's coming up.
Humphrey,
so Creed and Trey. I don't think you're going to be able to pay both Creed and Trey.
Oh, yeah, you can.
I don't know, man. You got the franchise one.
No, because here's the thing. The market for those positions aren't sky high.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know if you're going to be able to the way.
Well, no, you got to remember, Trey's a 6th round draft pick. So even when he gets, to next year,
he's going to be able to get the max of whatever.
Yeah, but he's still, but they're still not going to be top 5. Creed possibly, if he continues with where his rankings and stuff are. So it is possible he could, but I just don't see it. I see them getting paid. I just don't see it being some monster deals like that.
Yeah.
Monster. Steve, before we get out of here, your star of the game or who you think is going to stand out in today's game or needs to stand out?
Man, I really want to see what Rashee Rice is he able to put 2 games together. He did fairly well last week. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but I still think there's a QB battle, man. And I'm not talking Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, talking about Pat.
I mean, Blaine Gabbert and Shane Boucher. I mean, Shane has shown, and he is showing that he may be a legit number 2. I'm just saying. I know you, but I'm just saying he may be able to show. And I think that's what he wants to showcase. That hey, I can be the number 2.
Well, one, I don't see them not having 3 quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, you would bring Gabbert, Blaine Gabbert in. I mean, still keep him at number 3, but I think Shane may earn the spot to be number 2.
All right, for Steve Walls, I'm Darren Smith, about to get started with the national anthem and get the game started. It starts in 10 minutes. Well, thank everybody for joining us. Make sure post-game, we'll bring you our post-game show following Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes' press conference and our interviews in the locker room, and we'll come back on the field post-game giving you a wrap-up of tonight's game. Make sure you follow us on social media at Steve Walls KC, at Darren Smith WHB. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week. We'll be back next week now at 11 o'clock. Pregame cheat sheet live from Arrowhead Stadium inside the press box.
Can't wait
for the final home game for the first and only preseason home game for the Kansas City Chiefs as they take on Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. So until then, post game, let's go Chiefs Kingdom. We are out.